Merry Christmas! It's JC1424 once again with another album review, and today we're going to be talking about the debut studio album from rap metal / new metal artist Linkin Park. This was released on October 24th, 2000, and it is called Hybrid Theory. This was the first CD that I ever got back in like 2008 or 2009 as a Christmas present, along with a stereo CD player. So it's only fitting that after this 7-review marathon of all the first era Linkin Park albums, that I released this on Christmas morning, just for you guys who've been following along. But Linkin Park was previously known as Xero, up until like maybe 1999, and the reason they couldn't keep that name, I think, was because there was already a band that had that name in copyright from down under in Australia. I never wound up listening to them, but maybe I will at some point. They wound up changing their name to Linkin Park, but the original lineup was Mike Shinoda, Mark Wakefield, and Joe Hahn came around and he did a lot of the DJ stuff, and he still does to this day. But Mark Wakefield kind of got pushed out by Jeff Blue, and his voice just did not seem to fit it very perfectly, and he wound up taking a management position for a while, and then he moved to a band called Taproot. But that left this space that Chester Bennington auditioned for when he was just about to give up on his entire career. He was playing with a band called Grey Days, and his voice was even more fitting for grunge than it was nu metal. But whenever he went looking for nu metal, chef's kiss right there. And they hit it off. But that did not come with any casualties. Jeff Blue was also working with a band called Dry Cell that I still love to this day. And Jeff Blue got Dry Cell a record deal. They recorded an album together, and Dry Cell's album just never even actually got distributed. There's some songs on Dry Cell's Disconnected that I consider to be better than half the shit on this album. Where's that game? Where's that game? Dry Cell made the theme song for this game. And it is some good shit with a really hard drop towards the end. But anyhow, this album was preceded by the lead single One Step Closer, which is track 2. But before we talk about that, track 1, Paper Cut. It also got a music video, and the default percussion style combined with the guitar loop makes for an iconic introduction. Mike Shinoda opens this song with a verse rapping and whispering about paranoia. Then Chester comes in for the first time in the chorus, but he doesn't sing until the very close of the song. And there's not much screaming from him showing off in this first song, but it does add up to a golden, beautiful ending portraying anxiety so well. Okay, now we'll talk about this lead single, One Step Closer. The second track on this album perplexes me. It is a shock that this is the only song put out before the album, and despite what the label projected, it sold 4 times the number that they were expecting to see. I mean, Jeff Blue, he knew he was picking a really talented artist, but I mean, if it was Dry Cell, they probably would have sold the exact number that they were budgeting right there, 12,000 and whatnot. And you can hear about this more by checking out the Complex interview with Mike Shinoda that came out about a week ago as I'm putting this out. Anyhow, Chester takes the lead here in the heaviest, most visceral song on the album. The verses are calm and smooth but have an attitude to it. The chorus shows off what he is really made of, though, while being at this breaking point. The guitar and rhythm is catchy, it's got a slight bounce to it. The DJ scratches and the screaming combo just rocks. It is, as what the kids would say nowadays, fire. Just like before. Everything you say to me takes me one step closer to the edge, and I'm about to break. I need a little room to breathe, 'cause I'm one step closer to the edge. I'm about to break. The third song on this album, With You, was one of my favorites for a long time. The digital effects synchronize well beneath the chords, and the organ hides under everything in the mix again, this time assisting in some imagery of resent. Mike uses the verses to describe a relationship with like domestic abuse, and then Chester adds the layer of attachment despite the toxicity of that relationship, and it is a neat dynamic. The structure is whimsical and funky at times, while feeling exerted is this sad complacency.
Even though you're close to me, you're still so distant, I can't bring you back. It's true, the way I feel was promised by your face.
Points of Authority is the 4th song on this album, and the rhythm makes this seem like it should have been in fucking NBA Street, I don't know. It's just so damn bouncy, some good shit. Somehow it mixes all of Mike's breaths into the intro before he drops his first verse. And I always found that so cool. It's a nice attention to detail, nice touch. The chorus just vibes with these long, low-tuned chords, and this rim shot or snare hit, whatever it is, it's so damn hard. And you can hear it in the chorus every time. And I take this song with all its attitude as one about narcissism, and as a result of that, someone who's just being a control freak. Oh boy. The 5th song on this album is Crawling in My Skin. The mysterious sounds at the beginning and the end of this song sound like a fiend from the wizarding world of Harry Potter, like the Dementors or something. I always perceived it that way ever since freaking Prisoner of Azkaban, I think it was. But the bass, the synthesizer, and even the little clack of the drumsticks play a significant role in the curvature of the verses of, I think this was the first single after the album, or maybe it was the second one, but the fashionable nu metal era type guitar lick that starts the chorus, and it leads into these drop C tuned power chords that blend with Chester's gritty voice brilliantly. And he lets loose some long cries of disgust with, from what I've heard, was heavy state of withdrawal from drug addiction.
How I can't seem to find myself again. My walls are closing in.
Not a sense of confidence, I'm convinced that there's just too much pressure to take.
I felt this way before. So insecure.
And then we move on to what has been a personal favorite of mine for many years, track 6, Runaway. It is a great continuation from that last song, and it easily could have been a single. Hell, I thought it was for the longest time because of how good this damn song is. But it opens with a wet and bubbly ambience, while the guitar chords are drowned out a bit at first. The lyrical theme of facing lies and gaslighting is approached angrily, but it's more like simmering up to that point. Musically, it's a calm before the storm. And then you get this thunderous bridge. The DJ has it come along like a freaking attack helicopter or something between this nasty, deadly riff.
I'm gonna run away and open up my mind. Run away, gonna run away. Gonna run away, gonna run away. Run away, gonna run away. Gonna run away, gonna run away. I wanna run away, never say goodbye. I wanna know the truth instead of wondering why.
Track 7 is By Myself. Now we're going to go into criticism mode for this one. Because if there's a song that ages the worst, in my opinion, it's got to be this one. The screeches kind of sound like a car crash. And fuck it, you can make anything sound cool whenever it's industrial metal. But I also consider this one to be a bit overly dynamic. It's got this solemn sounding verse, and then this nutty chorus, and it's like polar opposites. There's no real transition there. It's like a flick of a switch. But anyhow, this one is about a mental dilemma. It describes the symptoms of borderline personality disorder really well, in my opinion. Mike wraps this lose-lose situation, which, to elaborate on, it's like you have these meaningful connections with people that if severed, it really sucks and it's hard to deal with. But then if you just don't even bother ever having those connections, you just wind up lonely. And then Chester, he is screaming about this secluded insanity, and I feel like it is a great expression of something that I myself have personally experienced and thought about.
Or do I trust nobody and live in loneliness? Because I can't hold on when I'm stretched so thin. I make the right moves but I'm lost within. I put on my daily facade but then I just end up getting hurt again by myself. I why. But in my mind, I can't rely on my stuff.
I might be masking some emotions just talking about that song. Because even though it's not one of my favorites on the album, there's some stuff I'm going through personally right now that makes it a bit relatable. Anyhow, track 8, In the End, is a sad song, and it is the most popular they've ever made. I didn't even know that until I discovered the internet. I didn't know it whenever I first got the album, and I would listen to it while doing my homework because all I had was the CD, and well, they didn't play that much on the radio anymore. Anyhow, it's obviously formulaic, and it's quite reeled in, and it's done intentionally for mainstream radio. You got to keep in mind that genre blending hadn't taken this huge leap in the mainstream just yet, and so they made the song that fit on rock radio, rap radio, and pop radio all at the same time. It's got this broken up message of all the hard work that you put in and all that passion that you put into a bond resulting in nothing. So the lyrics are all easy to grab onto, it's relatable, it's catchy, and sound-wise it dumbs down that agony with this golden guitar tone and the variety of vocal deliveries from Mike's rapping to Chester's smoother vocals leading up to his scream singing.
To watch you go, I kept everything inside, and even though I tried, it all fell apart. What it meant to be will eventually be a memory of a time when I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter.
A Place for My Head is the 9th song on this album. And I'll tell you, a place for my head, right there. Right there. I gotta finish this review though first. I perceive this song as one about toxicity in unsolicited kindness. Like how much it weighs on someone to be reminded again and again and again that they're in debt to someone else. Like it's supposed to be a friendship, but the only reason they're doing them favors here and there is just so they can get something back. And it just puts this pressure on the other person. And there is some poetic material in this from Mike over an interesting guitar line that just creates a fantastic flow, similar to Points of Authority in my opinion. The chorus is also superior to One Step Closer from my perspective, while this breakdown to the end is just as good. The different structure and how destructive it is just badass. The drums play a big factor in the added intensity of the rapping plus the screaming going on.
Attention, sick of the hunger, sick of you acting like I owe you this. Find another place to beat your creed, will I find a place to rest? I'm so sick of attention, sick of the hunger, sick of you acting like I owe you this. Find another place to beat your creed, will I find a place to rest?
And then track 10 is Forgotten. This and Runaway, I do believe were written both before Chester had even auditioned for Linkin Park. This does belong on the album in my opinion. I just find it to be a bit weaker than a lot of the other tracks. The verses, the pre-chorus, and the bridge are what the song is really built on. But I feel like there's a bit too much repetition in all these lyrics than to my liking. The pacing of everything is also so rapid that it gets so chopped up in the mix and it doesn't really transition smoothly from one stanza to the other from my perspective. The verses though, I do enjoy all them lyrics in the verses. They are all trapped in my head, so memorable over all these years. The chorus itself from Chester isn't much of an improvement over Mark Wakefield's, but with that production and the studio, sells it finally, beautifully. And he doesn't really do all that crazy, like extra screaming distortion to his voice. It's more of a smooth vocal. With Mark, I think the main problem was that it was like a garage demo, crappy sounding EP. Now the main riff on this one, it slaps fucking hard, and the bass is kind of dated, but it still sounds neat. And it's still pretty fun with all the industrial elements in this song.
From the top to the bottom, on the top I stop. At the core I forgot, in the middle of my thoughts. Taking far from my safety, pictures there. The memory won't escape me, why should I care? There's a place so dark you can't see the end. Skies cocked back, shock at which can't defend. The rain then sends dripping, acidic questions, forcefully, the power of suggestion.
And then for the most unserious entry on the album, track 11, Cure for the Itch. My cure for the itch is moisturizer. What is yours? I used to laugh at the modulated introduction nonsense in the first half of this one when I was a kid, but I'm not sure if I consider that diversion a good addition to the listening experience. It is fun stuff, but obviously this is one of the only moments where Mr. Hahn really gets to show off, and the back half of this one is gorgeous. The percussion splits itself in half in its own artistic way, and the melodies grow while also being swallowed up by the mix. And the final song on Linkin Park's debut studio album, Hybrid Theory, released on October 24th, 2000, is track 12, Pushing Me Away. And this song is one I had to study for quite some time so I could develop a firm opinion on how I perceive the themes. I find it to be about someone who's trying to reciprocate a relationship with someone else, and they're just trying to take advantage of them. All the while, they're being in denial because they want to believe they have their best interests at heart, and they just don't. And this song is about coming to terms with the fact that is just not the case. The backing vocals and the tone of the power chords here just harmonize in such an exquisite manner. The texture of the light guitar introduction and Chester's voice in the verses is mesmerizingly delicate. And the stylization of the song leaves us with a conclusive delivery. It's an appropriate ending to fucking anything, especially this album, which I am giving a 97%, which is a solid A. But obviously it aged like 24 years or 25 years at this point. Back then I'd say it's 100, because it is creative with its fusion of hip-hop, rap, rock, and little pop music, and there's a lot of attention to detail. It's got some really crisp guitars and crisp disc jockeying for that matter. It's dynamic the way the songs are put together themselves, and consistent the way that it all comes together as a cohesive project. And I've got nothing else to say. Merry Christmas, motherfuckers. See you next time. That's that. And album review over.
The sacrifice of